Hi guys, so we're gonna try and finish up this chapter on ethnicity tonight. I'm gonna try and be quick like a bunny. We'll see how it goes. So I'll start with really happy subject. Why do ethnicities engage in ethnic cleansing and genocide? So ethnic cleansing is a process in which a more powerful ethnic group forcibly removes a less powerful one in order to create an ethnically homogeneous region. So the motivation is not to simply defeat an enemy or to subjugate them, but it's to remove each member of a less powerful ethnicity, including men, women, children, and the elderly. So, the best example of that was the forced deportation of Jewish people, gypsies, and other ethnic groups into concentration camps during World War II, where most of them were exterminated. However, there are lots of other examples of genocides, including the one you read about last night in Rwanda. The Armenian genocide is another good example, and there have been lots of other genocides, and we will talk about those. So this map shows you the migration that went on of people from Russia into Lithuania and Poland to Germany into the United Kingdom and France. And you can see Germans moving, Russians moving, Poles, Czechs, and then the Baltic peoples moving, and then the purple arrow is places settled by the International Refugee Organization for where people could go. And then the numbers are the population, the number of people who moved in millions. So you can see, and then you can see after World War II, where land was added to Poland and where land was added to the Soviet Union. So Russia and then the Eastern, Russia and essentially most of Eastern Europe became the Soviet Union. Okay, so ethnic cleansing also occurred in the Balkans. In recent years, ethnic cleansing has occurred in portions of former Yugoslavia. So when I was in school, Yugoslavia was still Yugoslavia. That tells you how old I am. Now Yugoslavia has been broken up into multiple states, including Bosnia, Serbia, and Herzegovina. And so, guys, if you remember what started World War I, this is all the same stuff that's going on in what is former Yugoslavia. So in Bosnia, the Serbs and Croats fought to not be part of a multi-ethnic state with a Muslim plurality. So they're motivated to perform ethnic cleansing on Bosnian Muslims to reduce their numbers and to offer an ethnically homogeneous group of people to be better candidates for a union with Serbia and Croatia. And the ethnic cleansing of Bosnian Muslims created one continuous area of Bosnian Serb domination rather than several discontinuous ones. There's a great movie, I feel like it's called Blood in the Land of Blood and Honey, which shows what life was like in Bosnia. And essentially, like, everyone got along just fine. And then suddenly there's this civil war that takes place. And things were, the atrocities that happened in Bosnia were just incredible. The number of women who were physically and sexually assaulted was just outranked all kinds of other places. So it's a good movie, but probably one you should, check with your parents to make sure you can watch first, because it's pretty hard to watch. But I have let's see how to describe her. She's my stepbrother's. She's my nephew's mother. So my nephew's mother is Bosnian, and she came to the United States after this time period in order to kind of leave behind what happened in Bosnia. And so, there are lots of Bosnians who came in order to leave what was going on, and just the horrible conditions that existed in Bosnia. So, Balkanized was a term widely used to describe a small geographic area that could not successfully be organized into one or more stable states because it was inhabited by multiple long-standing ethnicities with animosity towards each other. And Balkanization is the process by which a state breaks down through conflicts among its ethnicities. So if peace comes to the Balkans, it will be because ethnic cleansing worked, tragically. So that idea is that if peace works out there, it will be because one group triumphed over another group. So if you think back to World War I, remember that in Serbia, they were trying to, Serbia had achieved their own national identity, and they were trying to get other nations to achieve their own national identities, and Austria-Hungary did not want that to happen. They were trying to keep their territories united, and so when Franz Ferdinand came to visit Serbia, the Black Hand essentially assassinated him because they wanted to keep their sense of nationalism strong and increase their chances of helping other Serbian and ethnic groups to have autonomous nations. So these same issues are still, going on in the Balkans, or were still going on in the Balkans. It's not as bad today. There aren't as many problems today as there were in the 90s, for example. Okay, so ethnic cleansing and genocide in sub-Saharan Africa. So genocide, as you know, is the mass killing of a group of people in an attempt to eliminate the entire group from existence. So Darfur is a much more recent example. In Darfur's Black Africans launched a rebellion in 2003 because of discrimination that they experienced. The Sudanese government, with the help of marauding Arab nomads, crushed the rebellion. And at the point that this PowerPoint was made, so this is published in 2014, 480,000 people had been killed, and 2.8 million lived in refugee camps in harsh conditions. Many countries had termed the actions of the Sudanese government as genocide. I think most of us would agree that what happened in Darfur was genocide. Okay, so here's a picture of some of the people living in Darfur. Ethnic cleansing and genocide in Central Africa and Rwanda, which you guys read about last night. Genocide involved the Hutus murdering hundreds of thousands of Tutsis, and this began in 1994. And in the Congo, the conflict involved between the Hutus and the Tutsis spilled into neighboring countries. And Laurent Kabila, the president succeeding Mobutu, permitted the Tutsis to kill some of the Hutu residents. And you read about how in Rwanda and the Congo the UN was involved. However, they were kind of limitedly, I don't know if that's a word, but they were involved in a limited way. So they were there and they were supposed to be helping, but when people called to get really immediate and direct help, the UN didn't always step in. And we know historically that the problems that exist for the Hutus and Tutsis began because when imperialism began, in the Berlin Conference, the Europeans drew the lines that would create the nations that exist today in Africa. They drew those lines because of what they wanted those borders to be, and so frequently the lines that were drawn came at the expense of the tribal areas that were already there, and the groups of people and the religious groups and the cultural groups that already existed, and those have caused problems, to this present day. Okay, so their ethnic conflict is widespread in Africa, largely because see how smart I am? Because the present-day boundaries of countries do not match the boundaries of ethnic groups. During 19th and 20th centuries, European countries carved up the continent into a collection of colonies with little regard for the distribution of ethnicities. And when colonies became states, some tribes were divided among more than one modern state, and others were grouped with dissimilar tribes. And this became a recipe for conflict. Okay, so if you look at this map, the black lines here show the countries, whereas the red lines show the ethnicities. So for example, let's see if I can pull this forward a little bit. Still see it. So for example, if you look in Rwanda, where a lot of the problems are going to be, you've got different ethnicities there within that one country. And I mean, look at a lot of the other countries, the divisions. Look at Nigeria, all those ethnic divisions. And those of you who are in Kogopo can talk about all the, the issues that go on in Nigeria. Additionally, the religious divisions that take place in Nigeria. So all kinds of problems exist because of what happened during imperialism. So, to summarize, ethnicity is identity with a group of people who share the cultural tradition of a particular homeland or hearth, whereas race is identified with a group of people who share a biological ancestor. Ethnicities cluster within the United States as a result of distinctive patterns of migration. You saw some of those clusters today when we were looking at the cities and the different races of people who live in different cities. So you could see those clusters that exist. Conflicts can arise when a country contains several ethnicities competing with each other for control or dominance. And conflicts also arise when an ethnicity is divided among more than one country. And ethnic cleansing is a process in which a more Ethnic cleansing is a process in which this is really great editing of this PowerPoint. In which a more powerful ethnic group forcibly removes a less powerful one in order to create an ethnically homogeneous region. Okay, dear ones, so I will see you Monday. For those of you going to KYA, have a great time. For those of you who aren't going to KYA, also have a great time. Be safe and take care of each other this weekend. Love you bunches.